I'm watching a kid who can't shoot fall in love with shooting threes. He's falling in love with shooting threes. For what? Why are you shooting so many threes when you can't shoot? Nobody's respecting your three-point ability. And why isn't J.J. Redick snatching him out the game and giving him an earful and say, run for layups? Bronny is not getting treated like a normal rookie last year and a now second-year player.
After watching Bronny James' latest preseason performance, Kwame Brown didn't just criticize, he tore it apart. He exposed the entire setup surrounding Bronny, the Lakers, and that uncomfortable truth everyone's scared to say out loud. This wasn't hate, this wasn't trolling. This was a former #1 pick laying down cold basketball facts, and it hit deep because too much of it made sense.
For those of you who whine and cry in the chat because somebody is saying something about a 21-year-old professional that y'all want to treat like a baby because of his daddy and his name, and y'all want to fake like this is about black power, when y'all have no problem destroying Anthony Bennett, Kwame Brown, Russell Westbrook, Oliver Candy, and anybody else not named LeBron and Bronny. So save all that somebody's hating, save all that somebody's jealous, save all that crap. This guy is a summer league player at best.
So here's the real question. Is Kwame Brown crossing the line, or is he just brave enough to say what everyone else whispers behind closed doors? Drop your answer in the comments because this one's about to get real.
What is Bronny going to do during the season? What position is he going to play? I just don't get it. This kid does not. Let's get into Bronny James and what I saw. What I saw is a kid that needs to get away from his father. I saw a kid that needs to get away from his father and actually be around young players and actually give it a real shot around people that's going to be able to judge him based on him being a young player.
If you're not a shooter, then you don't pretend to be one. You slash, you cut, you hustle, you move without the ball. You earn those easy buckets. But instead of simplifying, Bronny is making it harder on himself, pulling up from deep early in the clock, taking threes when nobody's even contesting. That's not swagger, that's stubbornness.
I'm watching a kid that they say is a defensive specialist, and they run the simple handoff at the three-point line. This guy is not a shooter that he's guarding. The Suns is a horrible team, and I watched Bronny James chase the guy around the top of the three-point line, and the guy get a backdoor layup, and everybody looking at the other players, Aiden and everybody else, instead of saying, Bronny, you slide right through and meet him and do not go. If he stopped behind the pick, then we get Aiden or one of those bigs to get a hand up. But you go through the pick. You don't go around and let a guy get a layup. You don't be in help position at the nail when you got a shooter behind the three-point line and don't connect and everybody is there already. What are you doing? For people that are saying that he's a defensive specialist, how?
And that's what's driving Kwame crazy. But Kwame didn't stop there. He shifted the spotlight to the coaching. And that's where things get really uncomfortable. He asked what everyone's been thinking but too scared to say. Why isn't J.J. Redick holding him accountable like every other young player? Why isn't Bronny getting benched after bad decisions? Why isn't he getting that tough love every rookie needs to grow? Because this isn't just basketball anymore, it's optics. Bronny James isn't treated like a normal young player finding his way. He's treated like something fragile, untouchable even. Everyone's walking on eggshells because of who his father is and what his last name represents. But here's the harsh truth. Real development doesn't happen when you're being protected. It happens when you're uncomfortable, when you mess up and get corrected, when you hear, "You're not doing that again," from your coach. But how do you do that when your dad is LeBron James, your agent is Rich Paul, and every camera in the world is waiting for someone to slip up around you? Coaches don't coach, they manage optics, and optics don't build champions.
You can't go all the way down to the free throw line with these pros. You can't do that. It's ball you man. You either one pass away, two passes away. If it ain't Kyle Korver or one of these catch lights out shooters, then you slide through and you trust that your big gonna get a hand up. So for those of you who whine and cry in the chat because somebody is saying something about a 21-year-old professional that y'all want to treat like a baby because of his daddy and his name, and y'all want to fake like this is about black power, when y'all have no problem destroying Anthony Bennett, Kwame Brown, Russell Westbrook, Oliver Candy, and anybody else not named LeBron and Bronny. So save all that somebody's hating, save all that somebody's jealous, save all that crap.
Kwame knows the pattern by heart. Every time someone critiques Bronny, the reaction flips instantly. Suddenly, it's not about basketball. It's about hate. It's about jealousy. It's about, why are you picking on him? But let's be honest. Bronny James isn't some teenage AAU kid anymore. He's a 21-year-old professional NBA player, getting the same checks and playing the same game as everyone else. The same fans who defended him now are the same ones who ripped apart Anthony Bennett, Kwame Brown, Russell Westbrook, and countless others who struggled. The only difference is, those guys didn't have LeBron James's last name. That's the double standard fueling this whole storm.
12 shots for a kid that's not going to shoot like that in the game, that's terrible. Bronny James got to work on being able to hit an open shot, not dribbling the ball like he's some type of hot shot guard, because that's not what he's going to do when he's playing with the starters. When he's playing with the starters, if he ever plays with the starters, he's going to be an in the corner catch and shoot player, or out at the wing catch and shoot player. I don't know why, because he can't seem to shoot, but what he needs to do is get away from his father, work on running the floor. You are young. Run for layups. If Bronny run for layups, then it would make the game easier for him. But for whatever reason, I guess because he's standing there and shoot threes with his daddy in practice all day, and there's nobody in the stands, so he's going to make threes in practice. He ain't no goddamn 3D player.
You can't preach fairness while protecting one player from criticism that every other man in the league faces. Basketball has never been polite. It's never been safe. And it's definitely never been sentimental. It's ruthless, it's raw, and it's real. And Kwame Brown is reminding everyone exactly what that looks like. Kwame's message wasn't fueled by emotion. It was built on logic and consistency. His rule was simple. If you're on the court, you're accountable. No excuses. Then came the stat that lit the internet on fire. 1 for 12 in a preseason game. 1 for 12 in a game where players are scratching and clawing for roster spots. That's not a night to brush off. That's a spotlight moment. And it exposed something deeper. See, this wasn't Bronny forcing bad shots in chaos. This was him being featured. The Lakers wanted to see something. Nobody hands a young player 12 attempts unless the organization is testing a theory or trying to justify a storyline. And that's exactly what made it look worse. The team gave him the green light and the result was ice cold. You can't spin that. Kwame didn't chalk Bronny's struggles up to a bad jumper or off-night mechanics. He called it for what it really looked like, psychological. And honestly, that hit home, because when you watch him in summer league or controlled scrimmages, he's smooth, confident, composed. But when the lights get bright, when it's the Lakers gym, cameras everywhere, and expectations sky high, something changes. His body language tightens up, the rhythm disappears, and you can feel the weight of that last name crushing him. That's not a skill problem. That's pressure. That's legacy pressure. The kind that doesn't just test your game, but your identity. And instead of getting space to breathe, to grow quietly like most young players, Bronny's been thrown into the loudest spotlight in basketball history. Kwame dropped a line that stung. Bronny needs to get away from his father. Not in life, not emotionally, but professionally. Every young player needs space to fail, to be corrected, to learn from mistakes without it turning into a family headline or media debate. Under the Lakers system, that kind of space doesn't exist. Every turnover becomes a trending topic, every critique turns political, and every coach has to second-guess their tone because one harsh word could turn into a viral clip. That's not development, that's damage control. So Kwame went bold, but logical. He said Bronny needs to go somewhere like Utah or Charlotte, teams where rookies actually get to play through mistakes, where nobody expects instant greatness, where you can miss 5 shots in a row and not have ESPN breaking it down for a week. That's how confidence grows. That's how a player builds an identity, not under the shadow of the NBA's biggest star, but out in the open where they can finally breathe. Instead, Bronny's trapped in an identity that doesn't fit, trying to be a 3-and-D player who doesn't shoot well and hasn't shown elite defense. And Kwame didn't just say it, he showed it. He broke down defensive clips that shattered the myth of Bronny being a lockdown defender. Missed rotations, lazy switches, poor angles, overhelping, leaving shooters wide open. These weren't small lapses. They were fundamental breakdowns. Defense isn't just hustle and effort. It's IQ, timing, and understanding angles. You can't just try hard your way to elite defense in the NBA. And that's what Kwame was pointing out. Not to humiliate, but to educate. But when fans are emotionally tied to a narrative, logic doesn't matter. They don't hear the truth. They hear an attack. Kwame said it straight. This isn't about basketball anymore. It's about legacy, the story everyone wants to protect, even when the game on the floor tells a very different one. LeBron James wants the story, the emotional finale, the documentary moment, the father-son chapter the world's never seen before. And on a human level, that's beautiful. But on a basketball level, it's messy, real messy. Because when legacy dreams start messing with roster structure and player development, somebody always pays the price. And this time, it's Bronny. Kwame Brown didn't call it traditional nepotism. He went deeper. He called it classism, access, and insulation. It's not just about who you know. It's about what doors stay open for you while others get slammed shut. Other young players don't get 12-shot experiments in preseason. They don't get handled with care after bad nights. They don't get excuses repackaged as patience or growth. That's where resentment brews, right there in the locker room and among players grinding for a single minute of court time. And when the internet trolls came for Kwame, calling him jealous, bitter, washed up, he didn't blink. He shut that noise down instantly. He made it clear. This wasn't personal. This was basketball talk. He wasn't attacking Bronny as a man. He was analyzing performance, the same way analysts do every night on national TV. And that difference matters. You can respect an athlete and still tell the truth about their game. In fact, real honesty is respect, because pretending someone's ready when they're not doesn't help them. It sets them up to fail harder later. And here's the hardest truth of all. If Bronny James didn't carry that last name, this wouldn't even be a discussion. He'd probably still be in college or in the G League, maybe even overseas, quietly finding his rhythm and figuring out who he really is as a player. Instead, he's being rushed into a headline role he hasn't earned yet and being protected from criticism that could actually make him better. It's a dangerous mix. Rushed, exposed, and defended all at once. Kwame's message wasn't hate, it was urgency. The clock doesn't stop in the NBA. Contracts expire, rosters turn over, narratives shift fast. And once LeBron retires, the shield vanishes. No more protection, no more cushion. At that point, production will be the only thing that speaks. Bronny can write his own story, but first he's got to be honest about where he stands right now. This isn't about bashing Bronny James. It's about asking whether the situation around him is even helping him grow. Is forcing moments better than building fundamentals? Is protecting the family legacy today worth risking his actual career tomorrow? Because that's the real danger. When expectations, legacy, and optics collide, development gets lost in the noise. The uncomfortable truth is that overprotection can be just as damaging as harsh criticism. If a player never gets to fail, to be coached hard, or to earn his minutes like everyone else, that's when growth stalls. So now we're left with the question that matters most. Will Bronny James finally get the freedom to grow outside his father's shadow? Or will the Lakers keep pushing a story that the basketball world just isn't ready to believe yet? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you agree with Kwame Brown's take, or do you think this criticism goes too far? Hit that like button, subscribe, share it with your crew, and I'll see you on the next one.